This is Prep Period, an all-sports podcast by the Ventura County Star and the people at VCS Press.
Hello and welcome to episode 25, the Big 2-5 of Prep Period, the Ventura County Stars, all preps, all sports podcast. My name is Dominic Massimino. He is Joe Curley. We are sports reporters here at the Ventura County Star. It's a big day for a couple reasons. It's the Big 2-5, which is big for us. And then we are also testing some behind the scenes stuff, some vertical in the background. Vertical video in addition to the horizontal video. So fingers crossed everything goes swimmingly and according to plan, but there may be some technical difficulties. We'll see how it goes. Joe, how are you doing?
Leave it to the new kid to think 25 is a big number.
Dude, that's 1 year younger than I am. That's a lot. Although it's
it's a big
weeks,
number.
not
Anything
years.
over 40. Anything over 40 is a big number. Wait till we get to spring season. Then you can get excited.
I love it. So
Just kidding.
So, big couple of weeks for us, Joe. Or weekend, I guess. Big week. Big couple of rounds of playoffs for us. We had, this first and second round of girls and boys basketball playoffs. We had tons of soccer action in the playoffs. We are now reaching the quarterfinals for basketball. Pretty exciting stuff. That's what we're going to talk about today. We have kind of a packed show. We're bringing on lots of special guests, which means that I want to zoom through this early basketball segment when I, give you guys kind of the info on everything that's happened, some quick scores, and some matchups for the second round. How's that sound to you, Joe?
Yeah, let's get to the interviews. What
get to the good stuff.
If you were under a bus for the last week, what did you miss basketball wise in Ventura County?
So here we go. For girls basketball, we have a very exciting quarterfinal round coming up. We have 6 teams left. 5 teams moved on to the quarterfinals with wins last night. So you have, we'll just start in Division I and go down. You have Ventura taking down Bishop Montgomery, it was, on the road. Kai Stanlin scores 28 points. Brindley Anderson has 19 as they win 50-40. The Cougars are back in the Division I quarterfinals for the second year in a row. Lost last year by about 12 points to Rancho Christian, and kind of a heartbreaking loss for the Cougars. But they're back. They're back in that round, hoping to, get the win this time around. In Division II, you have Camarillo taking down Rancho Cucamonga 54-42. They limit Rancho Cucamonga to just 10 points in the first half of that game. Kind of crazy. They got point guard Maya Ray Smith, the flag football star, back. First game back. She has 6 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Scorpions. Kind of the story of
It's a big ad.
Yeah, kind of the story of the season for Camarillo is they've put all of the pieces back together as the season has gone on. Yet Emerson Martin, the star forward, missing for most of the season after an ankle injury. She comes back and has 23 points, 9 rebounds tonight. I think it's her 5th game back. So they got her back right at the end of the regular season, going into the playoffs. And then you get your point guard back in the second round. So big for Camarillo. Division III, Oxnard takes down Aliso Niguel 37-34. Kai Buhane, a name that I'm kind of getting familiar with. She has the sophomore guard has a game-tying three-pointer late, and then hits 2 clutch free throws to help put Oxnard ahead. They get the win. They avenge, Oxnard rival, but also close compatriot Rio Mesa in the first round, who lost to the Aliso
District
team. District teammate. I like that. D7, the game I was at, Foothill Tech gets the big win over Fillmore. It's the Tri-Valley number 3 taking down the Citrus Coast number 2 this season, led by just a big day from both of their kind of star forwards in Jocelyn Morales, who had 24 points, 10 rebounds, and Bella Baum, who had 14 points and 15 rebounds in this win. They have an 18-7 fourth quarter, just puts this one away. Super fun watching that game, seeing a couple of couple of local teams facing off in the second round in D7.
Well, I'm just glad you found the gym. I mean, that was a big win.
Well, quick behind the scenes. I walked the entire circumference of the Fillmore
You're
Fillmore
an expert
campus.
in the campus.
I made friends. I got directions.
You found a place to eat.
Found a place to eat.
Thanks
to shout out Coach Charlie Weiss of the Fillmore football program for putting me on. And so Foothill Tech is going to host Laguna Hills in the D7 quarterfinals this coming round. And then in D9, you have Channel Islands taking down visiting Jurupa Hills 37-31. You get a 22.6 rebound, 5 steal performance from Maki Placentia. I believe I forgot to mention this to you. Is this Anthony's kid, our former star staffer, Anthony Placentia's kid? So that's big time. And shout out to the star connection there.
What was Larry Fitzgerald's dad's name? It's like Larry Fitzgerald's dad was a columnist for the Milwaukee or the Minnesota paper.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when Larry Fitzgerald was coming up, it was like a big deal that it's like the reporter's kid was like a star.
That's awesome.
And it's like I think Anthony no longer works for the Star, but he was with us for so long. He's like a brother, so it's really cool to see this happening. So
I was going through to the photos to put on our graphic for this episode, and I saw that the courtesy photo that we got was from Anthony, and I was like, "There's no way it's another."
Oh, really?
Anthony. Yeah, exactly. And
Andy's giving us photos.
And he's giving us photos. Yeah, the legend. So that's pretty awesome. And maybe just give the Deuces stat of the week here because it's perfect time for it. Channel Islands girls basketball, they're in the quarterfinals for the first time since the 1992-93 season. Wow. And they have never reached the semifinals, so a chance to make true program history there at Channel Islands. Really exciting. And then we said 5 teams advanced, 6 teams left. The big news in the Open Division is that Oak Park gets a big win over Corona Centennial in the second round of pool play. They're going to have the third round off because they played Sierra Canyon in the first and Corona Centennial in the second. They're going to be watching to see what happens in that Sierra Canyon Corona Centennial game. If Delaney White and Sierra Canyon defeats Centennial, they're into the quarterfinals. If Centennial wins by 11 points or more, taking down Sierra Canyon, then Oak Park would be out. So that's the behind the scenes with the point differential and all that kind of stuff in the somewhat complicated Open Division pool play.
Which it's been years since we've had to learn these things. So, we haven't been, I've been an expert in Open Division girls soccer competition, not so much in girls basketball. So we're learning here with the Eagles.
Yeah. And that was, I should say, Oak Park's first program win in Open Division, first Open Division win in program history. Yeah. So it's Ventura and Oak Park. Those two teams.
Did Ventura get wins in the Open Division?
I don't actually know.
So is it the county's first Open Division win? Might be. We'd have to look.
It might be.
Could ask. Might have someone we could ask.
Who we're gonna ask. Send the text. We'll know in like 2
She's
minutes.
Coached a lot of games. She might not be able to immediately. We'll see. I don't want to put words in her mouth. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's girls basketball, and then on the boys side, it'll be very short. We have one team left, and it is St. Bonaventure. So
what a run for the Seraphs these last 4 years.
Yeah, really incredible. I mean, we're going to talk about it again with head coach Wolfgang Wood in just a moment, but the story here is you lose. It's an exodus, and I'm not scared to call it that. You lose like half your team, including a player who we thought was on track to be a player of the year later on in Charlie Adams.
Player that would keep them above float for the next 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. And he transfers in the offseason. You lose a lot of those role guys. You lose 2 really talented seniors in Sam Seiden and Matthew Wilson. They're kind of core. And it's like, okay, well, we'll see what happens with St. Bonaventure. And here they are, our final team left in the playoffs in D6. They went on a 19-0 run to start the second half. of their second round game, they get the big win. Just really awesome. We're going to talk about with Coach Wood about some of the guys that stuck around during that exodus and who now are, stars on this team in a little bit. But Joe, you covered these early Wolfgang teams at St. Bonaventure before I got here. Like, pretty cool, I must imagine, to kind of see what he's done there.
Well, we're going to talk to somebody else who won Division 6 in one of the sports last year, and I'm wondering now if we'd have to go up and down, and six would have been the old 3A. So I wonder if they're kind of where they've been these last couple of years, or if they're a little further down.
No, it's a good point.
Because I wonder if they've got now a better shot of, making this run, or it just seems like they do because 6 is, would it be 4A? Would they have been down? Anyway, maybe do that really quick. What were they last year with 3?
They were 2A. They were all the way up in 2A. But yeah, I've seen a couple of those teams that they were playing, that they played in that 2A bracket last season, and there's a lot of movement year by year, as you know. The new system, sure. It's like it's just based on what you did that year, so lots of opportunities to move. Sorry, I gotta send.
But just the fact that they're I'll riff here. Just the fact that they're the last boys team. They weren't the last boys team alive, I think, when Buena made the state final, which was maybe the first or second year they went to CF. But just that Bonaventure essentially was the last boys basketball team alive in Ventura County, or there or thereabouts, for the last 4 years is an achievement in its own, and shows you kind of what they've been able to achieve. Bonaventure's always been a good basketball program. Under Coach Frank, they were very good year in and year out, back when the divisions were, according to, different things. So, they were kind of a small school, not a powerhouse, but they were competitive in their small school situation. But, now, the fact that the girls won a game in Division 1, and the guys continue to have the success. St. Bonaventure's a football school, let's be honest, but the basketball coaches are making it very hard for that label to stick. So kudos to both of those programs, and they're obviously doing a nice job there, and really interested to see what this will look like here if they can make this run this week and get to a fifth final in a row if they win the next 2 games.
Yeah. Craziness. To your football point, like, a guy who had double doubles in both of their first 2 playoff rounds.
Caleb?
In Walter Moore, who's a Division 1 commit at defensive end, comes back this season after getting a scholarship, and is like,
Walter Moore could ball.
I'm going to play. Yeah. I'm going to play even though I have that future secured in a different sport. That's really cool too. Speaks to the program. I should add also, just now that we are in slightly less of a rush, some of those boys basketball games in the second round were just so exciting. Oxnard loses by 2 on a heartbreaker. Had a look at it, a 3-point look that would have put them up as time expired. That rims out. Super sad there. I
watched that. Yeah.
And then Moore Park on the road loses by 2 as well. Hearing from Coach Kenny Smith, it sounded like they also had a look at it to possibly win the game. That's blocked by in an awesome defensive play from Norte Vista, I believe they were playing. So it was awesome, like, hearing about these games and being able to watch some of them live.
Yeah.
Just a pretty awesome year for both boys and girls basketball in the county.
And you got to feel for Westlake. They're the one more minor league team that survives the first round, and then they're playing an opponent they have no business playing in the playoffs. They get Mater Dei in the second round.
We can talk about. I have some.
I was about to compliment the system based on what Channel Islands has done in a couple sports recently, but Mater Dei, if they don't make the Open or the first, they should not be playing Westlake anyway.
Yeah,
that game should not have happened.
Okay, we have our first coach of the day.
Oh my.
There we go.
It's working.
It's working.
Hey, it's big wigs.
It's perfect. Joe, are you say something for me? I'm just trying to make sure that Joe
And
is.
you,
Test S1, 2. And normally when we get the first time we get a guest on, I always crash.
You
So we're testing
unfroze.
this.
You unfroze. It's perfect. Yeah, and Coach Larson's picture is perfect. We just want to make sure that Joe is not lost to us forever.
It's a holiday miracle.
okay, you can't. All right, you can see.
We see the Ventura a little bit.
Okay, good. You don't see the Coast Brewery where my daughter works. I was like, oh shoot, I should probably not wear a brewery shirt. But if it's not showing.
I love it.
Oh, good.
So,
That's why I'm wearing nothing. I don't have any billboard.
yeah,
Oh,
Coach, Joe has the plates behind him. That's Joe's
yes,
background.
Yeah.
that's cute. Are you
So-
at Grandma's house?
Tell Ryan. This one over here fell down. This is like a Ventura plate, actually. It's a Ventura County plate, and it fell down and it did not break. So that's how
Ooh.
strong the Ventura
That's-
County plate is.
Wow.
Okay, that's
There you go.
nice.
So let me give you a little introduction, Coach. I mean, not that you need any. We have Coach Ann Larson, legendary Coach Ann Larson, head coach of the Ventura girls basketball program. Coach, you're back in the Division I quarterfinals, second year in a row. I mean, just tell me how you guys are feeling, making it back here and just doing what you've done this season.
It's been so fun. This has been such a neat group of kids. I've got some kids that have been, some seniors that have been around for obviously the 4 years, and I've got some young kids that really don't know what's going on, which is awesome. It's been fun. They like to play, they like each other, and they want to keep playing. I think that is the most important thing when you get this far in and you get into the playoffs is do your kids want to keep coming to the gym? Do they want to come to practice? Do they want to play in these games? Do they want to do all the little things it takes? Some kids are just burned out and they're ready to be done. And I definitely don't get that feeling, which is what you need to have. Over the years when I've had teams that have been successful and gone farther along, they want to keep coming. They want to keep coming to the gym. They want to keep playing.
I love it. Yeah, want to keep the run, want to keep dancing, keep the run alive. And something that's kind of sort of characterized not just this run but this season is that synergy between your two stars in Kai Stanlund and in Brinley Anderson. Tell me how you have seen that kind of relationship on the court sort of develop, having a really talented post player to add to a star guard in the backcourt.
It's been an evolution. It really has. Brinley came in last year with us as a sophomore. Her family moved back from the Fresno area after her freshman year, and it took her a while to kind of get into the flow of how we do things. I mean, she played so hard last year. She averaged a double-double, and I think she had a need to kind of prove herself to the other kids in our program, and she has. And when you've got a really good player like Kai Stanlund last year in her third year, running the show and being the leading scorer and setting the tone, and then you bring in another kind of stud, they have to kind of earn their stripes. And Brinley did that last year, and then it just evolved into this year where they work so well together. They balance each other out because they both do, they're both excellent fundamental players, but they do the things we need, and they're very different things. Along with the scoring, obviously they're both averaging, double digits in scoring, but between the assists and the rebounding and the defense and just their different roles, it's just been a perfect blend.
Good catch. And you it's no secret you've coached some amazing teams in the history of Ventura High girls basketball. You guys reached 1,000 program wins this season. We wrote about that. I mean, what to you is special about this group? What kind of differentiates this specific team from maybe some that you've coached in the past?
They all really like each other, and that's the thing. They're friends. Now they're not, they don't have to spend every minute together, and they all have kind of different backgrounds and stuff. But when they're on the court, you can tell they really like each other. They like being around each other. They're kind of weird, kind of goofy. But it's good because if you have a team that is just so serious and so focused, and I've had some of those, it really puts some wear and tear on them. They have a feel, it's a business, which it is, but it's exhausting after a while. And these guys still can screwball around and do some things that kind of, I think, lighten the mood. And that's been a difference. And they really have overachieved. I mean, we've had losing 2 starters during the course of the year. Kaya Cook going down the weekend before the season started with her dislocated ankle and she broke her leg in 4 spots. So she was done for the season. She was by far our best defender at the time and had really come into her own as a player over this last year. And then, 2 weeks ago, we lose Sophia Martinez, our second leading rebounder, to a torn ACL. So we've balanced that out. And for some reason, there's this synergy. It's just working, which is crazy. You'd think that would just kind of tumble you down, but it hasn't.
I mean, it just shows the athletic depth at the school with girls athletes. A lot, there's multiple, athletic receivers on that flag football team that are with you. And yeah, I mean, what a player. I mean, that's kind of added too, where you've had your athletes have been borrowed by the flag football team, and then you get them back, and they're different players. And I don't know, I just think right now at Ventura High, there's just a very high level of, female athletes.
Very true.
Period.
They're athletes, and we've got coaches starting to share athletes again,
right,
which is super important. I mean, when people started talking 2 years ago about flag football, or 3 years ago, I guess now, everyone was, up in arms. It's going to be, it's going to take away from the kids are going to play flag, and then they're not going to come back to winter sports. And it has not, at least at our school, it has not been the case at all. Frank Jordan has been just amazing. He's also a basketball coach, so I appreciate that. But these kids, it's club season right now for flag football, and it's turning into a college sport. And so some of these kids are really being pressured to focus, do that singular focus. And, I've got, I had Kaya too, but I have Ava Ortman and Maya Rodriguez, who are, studs at flag football. And now they're coming out and it's really toughened them up. Yeah. It's really changed them as athletes.
I mean, I had a conversation with Ava about, this is a player, and some of these players we have, like the Camarillo point guard that we talked about. Yeah. I mean, these are players who are going to be pioneers. They're going to be the first flag football college players, but we're not far away from a WNFL. I mean, you could actually see Ava Ortman playing, for the LA female Chargers or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, in not just in our lifetimes, but relatively soon, it's growing that exponentially fast.
It is, and you look at it. I mean, it's such a unique sport too. I mean, I know we're not on here to talk flag football, but it's such an interesting, unique sport because it's not that smash mouth stuff. It's a very artistic sport in a way. I mean, it's
got some basketball to it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you have to have good feet. You have to have, I have to keep talking to kids. Everything's about your hips. It's where your hips go is where everything goes. And it's just they balance each other out so well. And you got to be tough, which I like.
And that's the Ventura High girls basketball program for you. There. I mean, that's Ventura. Now that we have you on here and we're talking about, obviously one of the cool things about the program getting to 1,000 wins was the fact that on record that they could figure out, obviously we think Berkeley's there too, but they don't know for sure. The 2 schools that have done this are the 2 Ventura schools. And so we know, basketball is very special in the city of Ventura. We know that girls basketball is very special in the city of Ventura. And as somebody who grew up in this community, played for the program, played for one of the programs, essentially, crossed over to the other school and continued on these traditions. I mean, how has this happened in this town? What is basketball, and especially girls basketball? That Ventura Buena game is one of the biggest girls basketball game. It's one of the biggest games of the sporting calendar in any sport, boys sports, girls sports, anything. Yeah. So I don't know, just, you've been at the epicenter of this thing, and it's hard to, as somebody who's been on the periphery of it, it's hard to put a figure on it, but I don't know. There's just something special about the game in Ventura.
It is. And honestly, it's been long coming. I mean, you go back to Joe Vaughn and, he started this whole thing, obviously, but even before that, VYBA in itself, which, has obviously changed a lot over the last 40 years, was so critical to getting girls involved in sports and girls playing basketball. And then even things like the old Buenaventura basketball camp that turned into the Perry Vaughn camp, which was before, there was no club or anything, but getting girls getting their toes in the water at an earlier age than most people did. And then obviously the success that Buena had over that long run. I was fortunate enough to be mentored by Joe Vaughn. I played at Buena. Then I coached there for 12 years, which I think a lot of people aren't, they just think I'm this Ventura High person, but I coached there for 12 years, then got the job at Ventura in 2000. But, that was so much of that success at both high schools was set well before I got there. I've been able to just kind of fortunately be successful enough to keep some of that momentum and that legacy going, not just for Ventura High, but just for, the town in general. I think you've got to have both schools at that level for that to happen.
Yeah.
Well put.
Yeah. I mean, some of my, I've seen a lot of sports over the last 25, 30 years, and, Ventura Buena girls basketball, some of those games, some of Joe's teams at the turn of the millennium, some of your great teams, some of, Coach Ned's teams at VC, just something about the girls game in Ventura, which is just super special and a lot of fun and which is really cool. So
it is. And then you got to appreciate the fact that the community supports it. I mean, communities tend to support winners. I mean, everybody's a front runner in a way, but, riding the coattails and all that. But even so, there's a respect in this community for girls sports and for especially girls basketball, way more than other places, way more. And as over the years, having, going places and playing against really good teams and seeing nobody in the stands, seeing no students, not even, if parents aren't there, nobody's there. And we are very fortunate. And I know on Wednesday, it's going to be an excellent crowd. I keep telling the kids, I say, I know we haven't had the crowds that you've seen over the years, but you just wait till Wednesday and there's going to be a boatload of people there. I guarantee you.
Well, give us a preview of this Windward game. What I'm sure you guys are in the scout, and what do we need to know about this matchup?
They're good. I mean, like I was talking to Dom earlier, we're in Division I, everybody's good. I mean, it's whether it's fair or not, that's what it is. And we got to go with it. They're very good. Their record is not necessarily what I have it here somewhere. They're 17-12. They're in a very good league. They've played a lot of good teams. They have a lot of size, and we're going to have to deal with size. They've got an excellent point guard. But so do we. I mean, I'll put my kids up against anybody. And I think we have a competitiveness about us. Kids, they want to win. But Windward is a good team. It's going to be a tough one for us, but I think it's a game we can win.
See, you've said goodbye to some great basketball players, and you've after shaping them their whole childhoods. What is it going to be like when this season's over and you say goodbye to Kai? Just where does she fit in the history of this program?
Well, I mean, about all of her, not just her accolades, but all of her record breaking. I mean, it blows me away when I see that this 5'7", we'll call her if she wants to be 5'6", little point guard, scores over 2,000 points. I mean, it's crazy, but she is one of the, you can never say, I learned from my college coach, you can't ever say they are the best ever at whatever, because there's somebody you forgot, or there's somebody back there that was just, but she is as hard of a worker in terms of working on her game as any player I've had. She wants to win. She doesn't want to just score. She doesn't want to just get her own. She wants us to win. And she is black and gold through and through. And having watched her grow up, I mean, it's just from this little kid we saw running around with little pink,
Sure.
her little pink hearing aids on and playing VYBA at, when she was like 5 years old, and you're not supposed to play till you're 7 or 8 or whatever it is. She's one of those kids that's always been around. I mean, having watched Jeff play in high school and then following his career as a young man and his career then as a coach, and him coaching with Dan at Ventura for several years before he went to Oxnard. It's just, they're one of those families that's just been ingrained with us, it seems like forever, for the last 25 years. So I'm excited for her. I mean, Point Loma got a nugget. They got a eel. And it's going to be fun watching what happens to her. She set a great tone. I mean, her work ethic and her determination, I think, is Emma Anter, who will be our next person in that position. I mean, she's, been blessed to spend 2 years working, either playing against her or now playing with her on the court. It's a great role model. Great role model.
Well said, Coach. That's a great answer to a great question. Thanks, Joe.
Sorry for stepping.
No. I appreciate it. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping on the call and everything. And
Anytime.
you'll be seeing me on Wednesday night. I would not miss that one.
I hope we see a lot of people on Wednesday night. It was really fun going down to Bishop Montgomery, and they had a really good crowd, and it kind of gave some juices flowing. So it was pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I hope a lot of people come out.
Awesome, Coach. Thank you so much. And talk to you again soon.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
There we go.
Man, that was perfect timing.
Like
Nailed
clockwork. Coach Wolfgang Wood. How are you doing, Coach? Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Doing good. Just here at the school, about to practice in an hour. We just had a service at our school, so just got done with that for Joe Byram. So like I said, it was good, but honoring a great man. So, but yeah, practice in an hour.
Awesome, Coach. I mean, we'll give you a little intro here, but Coach, help me out. How many years is it now you've been at St. Bonaventure? Is this 6, 5?
Yeah, it's my 6th year. 6th year here. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Been enjoying every year of it.
Awesome. And a great 6 years it has been. I mean, Joe, we were just talking. Joe has covered a couple of those great teams a little earlier on in your tenure, but you guys have been in, what is it, 4 straight section title?
Yeah.
Get 3 straight section title games?
We were in three before this year. So yeah, 3 straight. Hoping to get to a 4th, preferably a different result, but either way, it's been fun to get to the final. And so it's been a good time. We've had the last good couple of years, so it's been really fun.
Coach, just tell me about this group and tell our listeners maybe who are just hopping aboard the Seraphs train midway through the postseason, just after such a big exodus of so much talent, guys transferring out, guys graduating, and Sam and Matthew last season. Like, how have you guys managed to get to where you are now yet again?
Yeah, it starts with we have some good senior leaders that have been here from the last couple of years. Adam Ayala, our leading scorer and big man, he's been here for 4 years. So, Adam started in last year's CIF championship game. Adam's been here. He was part of the 2 years ago CIF championship finals team. So it starts with him and his leadership. Walter Moore was a starter on that team last year too. So when you have 2 front court guys that have started for me last year and kind of been a part of that, and then even Elijah Besserell was a big time football player, was on the team last year. He didn't play a ton, but he was on the team last year. So we have 4 seniors actually in AJ Byram also. We have 4 guys that were part of this championship team, and 2 of those 4 are 4-year St. Bonaventure kids. So we have that leadership from the top, and then even from developing this offseason, kind of when we had that exit of players, we met as a team and talked about how we were going to have a rough summer and fall, and it's going to be a lot of development. But we had some kids in the lower levels that were successful players. You know, Zach Broberg averaged 16 a game on JV as a freshman. He also played a couple varsity games last year because we had football make a run, so we were short players to start the year. And so we had, you know, a brunt of JV kids that won 16, 17, 18 games last year. And then we had, you know, Jake Tabonga transferred from Archbishop Reardon, which arguably one of the best basketball programs in the state. So even though he played Frosh there, he's been a part of a way bigger scale program. And then just, you know, just like I said, it was a development thing. We told us, we were talking about the other day, in the summer, we lost every game by 40, lost every game by 30. In the fall, we lost every game by 25. And the gap got smaller. Eventually, we would lose by 10, by 15. And then eventually we started to win some of those games and learn how to win again. But it wasn't exactly, I tell everyone, I vividly remember sitting there at Ron Massey playing St. Monica, and we were down 36-2 in September. But our guys stuck together and understood this was a process of getting back to where we need to be.
That's awesome. And, you know, you go just in terms of team makeup, you mentioned Zach Broberg, who we know has really developed into, you know, a gifted young guard for you guys and is continuing to grow. But just the sort of makeup and style of play, I remember calling you near the beginning of the season and being like, so, like, what does St. Bonaventure boys basketball look like now? And you guys run through two really talented bigs. Just tell me about, like, the basketball scheme side of things.
Yeah, so this year's group, I would say, is one of my better defensive teams. You know, we have 1 through 5 guys that commit to guarding. I think in the last 10 games, we're holding teams well under 50, so that's been a thing for us. We don't have the electric guard play we've had in the past, but we have guards that are getting better and can make some shots. You know, for us, it's really try to get it inside, try to exploit that we have 2 athletic bigs. And then if they commit inside, we throw it out, and we have some timely guys that can make shots. And so definitely a defense-first team, definitely a more physical team, but also a lot of team chemistry. A lot of these kids have played together, actually, since middle school. And so it really is just getting them more physically caught up to their game as well. But it's definitely, we go inside. We are who we are. We try to go inside. We're defense first. We try to, you know, control the glass and try to make it more of a half-court game. But the guys do a good job of listening to that and adjusting to it as the season went on.
That's awesome. And, you know, into the D6 quarterfinals, you guys have, you know, you guys are no strangers to this part of the postseason. You've been there, you know, the last few years in a row. But tell us about this matchup with Valencia and just what you're planning on seeing from them.
Yeah, you know, they're a little bit smaller, but they shoot it well. It looks like they run Chin/Princeton concepts, which we're very familiar with. We've flirted with that type of style a little bit in the off season. So they're going to try to probably stretch us out, try to get some open shots, try to get around us with speed. We're going to try to do what we can to kind of contain the drives and contain the 3-point line. And then for us, it's just, you know, sticking to defense. I tell our guys, if we take care of the ball and if we take care of the basketball, we'll be fine. It's really just taking care of the ball, limiting them to 1 shot each possession, and then just coming down and working methodically to get a good shot. And so we know what kind of style they play. We're getting ready for it. I think in the playoffs, it really just comes down to limiting turnovers and just valuing each possession.
Yeah, limiting teams to 1 possession when you got a couple of walking double-doubles in Adam Ayala and Walter Moore definitely makes that a little easier, huh?
Yeah, no, it's, and, you know, I give credit to them. You know, like I said, Walter Moore being a Division I football signee, a lot of kids, when they sign to Division I, they might not want to play their senior year of basketball. So I give a credit for him for sticking it out. Even Elijah Besserell, a football kid who's talented, sticking it out. And so I give a credit to them and even our coaches. You know, the Highland game, you know, a lot of that was on the coaches and their ideas, the assistants, giving some good ideas in the second half to help us with that run.
Definitely. Joe, you got any questions for Coach before we let him go?
No, I mean, obviously, you know, we were joking about, obviously St. Bonaventure is known as a football school, but when you consider what UND have done this year, what you've done recently. I think I think you guys are getting close to the basketball school moniker here. I don't know, just how and it's always, St. Bonaventure's just always had a good basketball program, under Coach Frank and other predecessors. But where do you think you guys are now from compared to where you started? The process of this team winning big games and being, you guys are competing year in and year out for the biggest prizes there are.
Yeah, I mean, I know before I got here, Pat Frank had the program successful. So it wasn't like, they weren't winning at a basketball scale here. Even with Coach Marine, like Coach Marine did a really good job also with the girls program.
Mhm.
I think what we've tried to do here is just make it where each year, even if, players graduate or players leave, we have a longevity in our program. And so with us, it's been having some good players in lower levels that can come up and develop, and not having to rely on if we have to get transfers or rely on one player. And I think this year's kind of reflecting that with, most of our team is actually from our JV team last year. And also too, and a unique thing in this day and age too, is about half our team plays another sport.
Hmm.
So, a lot of our guys have their baseball cleats in their car ready to go onto the baseball field in about a week or two. And so, for us, it's my goal has just been trying to have a longevity program of having players that can come in, develop here freshman through senior year. And obviously, if a kid comes in, I know in this day and age that happens, that's great. But for us, it was just to, I always look at a college scale. There's the Mission League, which is like the Dukes and the North Carolinas and the Blue Blood schools. But I like to think of us like a Davidson, where, if you don't take us seriously, like, we have a chance to pick you off as a bigger program. And, we just want to be a team that's competitive at that, at a pretty solid level every year. So that's kind of been the goal. And the kids have been matching up with that. The coaches have been matching up with that. Athletic administration has been aligning with that too. So it's been kind of a complete tribe of us doing it, a village of us doing that. And I think we've gotten close to where, at least when you talk about programs year in and year out, we just want to be considered in that conversation. And so that's just been our goal each year.
Awesome.
For sure.
Coach
That's where you are.
Coach Wolfgang Wood, thank you for joining us, man. Congratulations, back in the quarterfinals of D6 this year yet again. Best of luck this coming week.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Talk to you soon, Coach.
Bye-bye.
You'll see Tom tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
See you.
Later, Coach. Thanks.
Cool. Damn, we are two segments in, two awesome interviews into this episode. This
Looking
is awesome.
along.
Joe, why don't you do you want to jump us over to the soccer
Yeah,
side
let
of
me
things,
take
or where are we
over.
now?
Yeah, boys soccer. Let's go with all right, so there's 6 teams left in boys soccer. We almost got all the Oxnard teams through. We kind of had a little controversial moment there in Division 3 with Oxnard losing at Little Rock. They were 1 up late, and Little Rock, I posted the video. They
Go
get
check
a
that
penalty on an obvious dive. And so it's kind of, it's soccer. It happens. You feel bad because Oxnard lost at Little Rock last year in the cold, and that was a very important, result for them. Obviously, they're a great team, Channel League champions. They want to see what they could do in the playoffs, and 2 years in a row, they lose on a rough surface, narrow field. Just kind of the thing that sometimes happens in the CIF playoffs. But we do have 2 of the big Oxnard powers through the second round, to the quarterfinals. Channel Islands, the defending Division 6 champions, they're in the quarterfinals of Division 3. They're going to Little Rock tomorrow, and we'll see if they do any better than the Yellow Jackets. Adrian Padilla and Aiden Bernal scored in a 2-1 win over Long Beach Poly. Edgar Mendoza at Murrieta Valley in the second round scored a huge goal on the break to put them up 2-0 at the break. And then right when Murrieta Valley got back in it at 2-1, he hit a laser from about 20 out, that bar down, just phenomenal goal. So, Channel Islands year in and year out, one of the most talented soccer teams in Southern California this year is no different. Speaking of some of the best teams in Southern California, Calabasas, the Milwaukee League champions, are they're in on their second straight quarterfinal. They've outscored opponents 5-0 since they fell behind in the opening minutes in the first. And they're also on, I think, a 21 game unbeaten streak. They lost their first game of the year to Del Sol and have not lost since.
Wow.
And they're, from the teams that have played them, the coaches that have played this Calabasas team, they're just phenomenal. They got multiple, regional level players, guys who will continue to play soccer for a long time. So they're a very entertaining team. They play 3:00 in their quarterfinal against Knight. And that's also in D3. If Channel Islands and Calabasas both win, we'll have an all-local semifinal on Thursday. Division 4, we already mentioned Pacifica. They got a golden goal from Luis Avalos to edge Saugus 2-1 in the first round, and they handled Baldwin Park 3-1 in the second round. So they're scoring goals. They had a huge unbeaten streak in the middle of the Channel League to push Oxnard until Oxnard got them real late in the season in a great game I covered on Gonzales Road. They're in the quarterfinals for the fourth time in 5 years. Gives you a little bit of a sense of how great that Tritons program is there with Coach Navarro.
Yep.
Santa Paula. So Pacifica's at Lakewood tomorrow. Santa Paula is in that same bracket. They're at Irvine University in Division 4. They beat Carpenter. It's a really wild thing that happened in the Division 4 boys soccer bracket. We mentioned this last week where Santa Paula lost to Carpinteria in league play, which enabled CI to win. Then Santa Paula got matched up with Carpinteria in the first round of the playoffs, which should never happen. Absolutely brutal decision from CIF to allow those to happen. Santa Paula got the revenge, though, won 3-1 in the first round. And they had a really weird game with Montebello in the second round where Montebello defender essentially batted the ball off the goal line to save a goal. He was sent off. So Santa Paula was a man up for most of the game, but the Montebello goalkeeper is really good. He saves the resulting penalty. So even though, so Montebello ends up saving that goal, even though the player was punished. And then, luckily Santa Paula scored right before halftime, but they really weren't able to take control. Coach Elizares, who I talked to after the game, was just saying that, for some reason, when you're up a man, you kind of have this confidence, and it made them a little, kept them from being as aggressive. And, maybe they relaxed a little when they were up a man, figuring they had it won. And, a lot of times when you're down a man, the other team's working hard and is in it. And so, that can kind of be a little bit of a trap, but it ended up working okay for Santa Paula. If both of those teams win on Tuesday, we'll have a Santa Paula Pacifica semifinal, which will be absolutely massive. I want to mention this D3, probably where I'm going to be tomorrow, is Westlake at Camarillo. Obviously you got a Westlake team that was second to Calabasas in the Marmani League, and you had a Camarillo team that was third in the Coastal Canyon behind two of our better programs in Moore Park and in Oak Park. But that matchup is super exciting because you've got two of the best strikers in Ventura County, Aiden Reinhold, who was really impressive the other day when
I just had you freeze, Joe, real quick. Oh, you're back. We're good.
Okay, cool. Did we lose Chava?
Unclear.
Okay, I'll text him.
Let me check real quick.
So anyway, I think
tell me about Reinhardt.
Lost Chava.
Sorry. Yeah.
So Camarillo's Aiden Reinhold is he's lost the last 2 years to multiple injuries. But I covered the game against Ventura. They beat Ventura 3-0. It was 0-0 at the 60-minute mark, and he had a goal and an assist. He had 2 goals and an assist, including a 70-yard run in their play-in win over Royal. And really, I mean, he was very impressive. So, and then the Westlake, they're playing this Westlake team that's got Marco Hernandez, who has 32 goals. Westlake was scoreless with 5 minutes left to play in their second round game, and Hernandez scored a hat trick in the last 5 minutes. So, it's kind of an interesting matchup where you've got two guys, at the kind of the point of the spear of these two teams. And, we're going to have a team in the semifinals just because those two teams are playing each other. And then I got to mention Thatcher. They're hosting De Toledo in Division 8. So we have what is that? 5 boys soccer teams, 6 boys soccer teams left in quarterfinals. And one of which is the team that knows the CI playoffs very well. Channel Islands, the defending Division 6 champions. I think it was the 2022 Division 2 champions. Chava Orozco, we bring in the head coach of the Raiders. Chava, obviously you have a lot of experience in a lot of great teams who have gone this far, but I don't know. What can you tell me about this group this year? What's going to make these Raiders memorable here?
So when we talk about confidence, then usually the overconfidence and how that sometimes is a negative trait to have. I feel like with this group, I feel like the confidence that they have that within themselves and within the group, we've always looked for a team that, has that killer instinct. And I feel like this is one of those teams.
I mean, so Adrian Padilla is our reigning boys soccer player of the year. Aiden Bernal, we just talked about these center forwards. He's one of the more, physically gifted, skillful center forwards around. The goals that Edgar scored last game were phenomenal. I don't know, go through your team a little bit and just kind of give us a little sense of what makes this Raiders team, winners and some of the personnel you have. We'll talk specifically about Adrian in a second.
Yeah, so let's start with Edgar. Edgar is a sophomore.
Wow.
He's a sophomore on my team. Last year we saw him during tryouts and we said, this kid is gifted. He's, very talented, but his mental capacity to just keep himself under control is phenomenal. Like I haven't seen this in a long time. So last year in the final, he's the one who stepped up to take the penalty kick.
Nice.
As a freshman. Scored
That's
it.
right.
Like if he was, playing Sunday League soccer. I mean, the kid's mentality is just amazing. So super excited to have him back this year. Obviously, those 2 goals that he scored the last game, again, from a sophomore, playing against guys that are already 18, 17 at the Division 3 CIF level is amazing. So then we have big man, Adrian Villanueva, our center back. He's been, 6 foot since he was a freshman.
Nice.
But just, in the last couple of years has definitely transformed himself in the ability to communicate with his teammates and the confidence that he's acquired to just distribute the ball a lot better is helping us keep 3 in the back. That allows us to push guys forward and that allows us to get very offensive very quickly in games because him and the other 2 guys, Ricardo Correa was a senior, and then Jonathan Huerta on the other side, who was a junior, and last year as a sophomore, winning also the CIF championship. It's like these guys' mental, like, what would you call it? Matureness.
Yeah.
And their soccer IQ is just up there with the best of them. And that's what I feel like is making our team very strong this year. We've had what we could call Diego in the center midfield, who's a sophomore who can easily step into Sebastian Lopez's role. Sebastian Lopez also just being a junior. And then Rigo Macias, who's just not afraid to commit to any tackles. And we've talked about it before. He's gotten us in trouble a few times, with some PKs and some free kicks outside the box. But I mean, when he makes a tackle, it's beautiful. And he sometimes makes them at the perfect time where that's our last hope, and he gets it done, and it stops a counter.
So now we go to Adrian Padilla, who is the type of player who can play anywhere on the field. There's moments last year where I think the feature I wrote was how you used him in defense because you needed, a steady hand in the back. And this is a player who, created the goals that won he moved forward in the middle of the game and created the goals that won the CIF title. He was our player of the year for just how versatile he is. And now this year he's been kind of an attacking force. You put him up front and used him, to kind of be the creative force going forward. But then interesting, Dom, what they do is if they're ahead and they've got the game under control, they can still move him in the back, and it allows them to be super versatile tactically and adjust to the game as it plays. I don't know, just the type of weapon that Adrian is and how you use him, it's part of what is in the DNA of this winning team.
Yeah, so part of the reason why we had to move him around so much is because he was one of the guys who kept himself healthy throughout the whole season.
Interesting.
With such a long season in CIF, having all those games, like you lose guys. You have guys that show up to the final and they're on half a hamstring or, they're sore and they just can't play up to the best of their ability. So we had to move them around to fill in some holes. This year, we're using him, like just Joe mentioned. If we're ahead, we'll just drop him in the back. And that definitely helps us control the game a lot more. And the idea there is that we keep a lot of our guys healthy by rotating in, giving the subs some minutes and using guys that don't normally play in order to save our legs. And it's been a working formula so far. We have all our guys healthy, and we'd like to continue it that way.
Well,
Love it.
switching the tone a little bit here. What do you think a Channel Islands Oxnard quarterfinal would have looked like tomorrow night?
That would have been in a lot of people's minds the CIF final. Just Oxnard is so big now, and just the amount of people that would have been at that game would have made it so special. Both for the hate and for the support. Seeing one team win over the other, it would have been an amazing spectacle. I texted Miggy, who's a longtime friend of mine. We played together at Kalu. He's the head coach over at Oxnard. I said, "Hey, I'll see you in the quarterfinals." And that was our agreement. Unfortunately, soccer gods had different plans, but man, that would have been something special.
So, what you're going to be in the same situation that they're in, where you're going to be going out there, and I'm sure you saw, it's a skinny field, it's a grass patch, bull patchy, and we're going to have all these rains. How do you get yourself ready for? It's essentially probably going to rain the next 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
How do you play winning soccer under these conditions these next 2 weeks?
Winning soccer isn't pretty soccer, man. Sometimes, winning soccer is going to have to be, if we can, let's just drive the ball into their box. And, you mentioned Aiden Bernal earlier, like Aiden do his thing. Just be a dog up there, and hopefully he knocks the ball down to one of our guys. And like Edgar did in the last game, just wherever the ball lands, just take a shot. Yeah. That's what CIF is about, is taking those risks. And if we have to go long and just hope for corners and free kicks around the box, and that's what we got to do. But I love that I have my assistant coach, Ivan Sanchez. He's
a good player in his own right.
Yeah, amazing defender, and one of the greatest people I've seen in the air too. And that's where he helps out a lot, right? It's that air ball, coaching guys to make sure that they're attacking the ball, that they're not just sitting waiting for it, both defensively and offensively. And him and I will come up with something. I don't know if CIF will intervene if the field is a little bit too,
it's up to the ref, right? The ref's the
harsh.
ones who are going to look at the conditions and determine whether or not it's playable.
Because it's been raining a lot, and I can only imagine how, if there's no significant draining system there. Hey, what's up, Savvy?
Savvy's going to chill until he's up.
So, but yeah, man, we have to come up with something, and that's our role as coaches. Is we got to figure out a way for these boys. So,
Chava, good luck. Obviously, we'll be in touch, and you got a shot to avenge Oxnard, and keep on your run. Keep this CIF winning streak that you guys got going. So congratulations on the Citrus Coast League Championship, and keep me working, man. I want to work for another
Yeah,
3-4 weeks here.
that's our goal, man. Is our goal is first to get to the final, and then this time make a run at state, and we'll see how that goes. And thank you for all the work that you guys do, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for the
Thank you for
entertainment.
coming, Coach. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so we'll quickly pivot here to girls soccer. We've got 5 teams left. That's headlined by our team in Open Division, Oaks Christian, who just had an unbelievable quarterfinal tie with Palos Verdes, where they go down to PV and play kind of that perfect first leg for about 75 minutes, and then concede. You want to go down on the road because you got the second leg. Maybe I need to explain the way the Open Division in girls soccer works. It's like the Champions League, if you've ever seen that. They play 2 games, home and home, aggregate goals. Whoever scores the most over 160 minutes, is that 2.5 hours essentially, goes on. And so, when you're the top seed and you're on the road to start, you kind of want to keep things close and maybe get out with a draw. And they were 5 minutes away from getting out with a draw. And Oaks concedes on a free kick right before the end of the first match, so they come home trailing 1-0, and it was like, no, they get the equalizer within 4 minutes. Joni Jane Quiros, who's their star, scores early on, gets them going, and eventually, just a crazy back and forth first half where there was 3 goals scored in 6 minutes. And so every time Oaks scores, it's tied. Every time PV scores, they go ahead. And so it was wild. It goes all the way to overtime. And Sam Mathis, who had a goal and 2 assists in the game, she heads in Kiros's flick on from, I believe it was Aria Pfeiffer's corner kick about 90 seconds into the extra time to get Oaks through. Oaks is now into the semifinals of the Open Division for the 2nd straight year. They're going to play old friend Santa Margarita for the 3rd straight year. And so that's why we're going to bring on Sebastian Alvarado, who is the director of soccer, right? Is that the right title at Oaks Christian?
That is correct.
And obviously, the head of one of the best programs in Southern California when it comes to girls soccer. They've been in the Open Division every year it's existed. Before that, as competitive a program as there is. So anyway, Sebi, welcome. You're back in this situation again where you're playing, the 3-time reigning Open Division champions or 2-time reigning, essentially it's the problem when you're one of the best teams is you end up playing the best team eventually. And you have to, eventually, figure out a way to get over that hump. I don't know, just bring us through this season. Very young team for the Lions this year, but an incredible amount of talent. They've had some of the, we'll talk about the issues with the injuries that you've had, but I don't know, give us an introduction to these Lions and where we're at here.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's been a crazy, couple of days, right? And I think in the beginning of your monologue, it's funny, being in the Open Division. I think a couple of years ago when we were playing at Santa Margarita, there was a 10-minute window where, we were playing well. We had the ball in their half, and then 10 minutes later we're down 2-0, and I'm like, oh man, the second leg's gonna be tough. This is what's gonna happen, right? So going into the game last week, or I guess I don't even know what that date is anymore, but the first leg, right? It is crucial, Thursday. Right? You don't want to get down a couple of goals and then kind of fight your way back. So the goal was to keep it. Obviously, the goal is to win every game, but when you're playing on the road, it's tough, right? It's a tough environment, especially playing a 3:00 game, which we haven't played at that time all season long. Traveling, it's a different routine, right? Stopping for lunch and heavy legs and all that. So I was confident that if we can keep it close, I know our girls play better at home. So that was the goal, right? To just keep it close, to play a tight game. And, you know, we get, like you said, we gave up a set piece the last 5 minutes of the game, and they scored on a set piece. But we were confident after that, right? We were only down a goal, so I knew that if we can get the first goal, you know, Saturday, that good things would happen. And like you said, we scored early. Obviously, I wasn't thinking that they were going to score right back after after we got the early goal from Johnny. But no, I was confident in the team. The girls played hard. It was first of all, PV is a very good team, right? I mean, they have 17 seniors. They're senior heavy. Only lost a couple of games the whole season. They're in a great league. I mean, Redondo Union's also in the Open, and they're also in the semifinals. So you know, they're in a great league. So it was a tough game, but I thought that I thought in the second half, you know, if we can just get one goal, I thought we can get another one, and if not, then I thought maybe if we go to PKs, Lily was playing really well. She's our goalie. She's coming back of an injury. Yeah, you know, I thought the first game we played against PV, she kept it close. She made some crucial saves that you know, they were 1v1s. And she kept us in the game, and so I was very confident in her and her abilities, especially in a shootout. But yeah, no, we fought hard, and we got that goal in the second half. And then when it went to overtime, it's funny because Johnny and Lauren asked me like what side. He's like, "Hey, Savvy, what side do you want?" I'm like, I want the ball. I want the ball. And I said, we're just going to kick it down their throats, and like, hopefully we get a corner or something. I said, do not let the ball go past our half. And, you know, we got 2 corners in a matter of a minute. And then the game was over. Right. So yeah, that was, you know, it just went by so fast. When Sam scored, it was like, man, you know, the girls rushed the field, but it was still like, I can't believe this game just ended. Right. It felt like so, like the game, the 80 minutes felt like it was like, you know, because you're playing this team for 2 games, right?
For like a week.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you're thinking about is Palos Verdes for the whole week.
I know, and you watch film on them, and you watch our film, and you know, it's the same kid, and it's yeah. So the game felt forever, and then overtime just happened so fast. And yeah, man, that was it. And like you said, Johnny won the header, and Sam flicked it on, and the game was over. You know, and now we get to play the #1 team in California.
You know, what is the challenge? Well, first, let's just talk a little bit more about your team. Obviously, we have to, you know, you guys are a very young team because you've suffered some serious injuries to your seniors. Noella Pfeiffer, you're down. What are your defenders?
Yeah, Makira Churchill, Mia Haynes, and Ella Pfeiffer, who, you know, they're all D1 commits.
Yeah. So you're losing, but you know, you don't have a ton of depth, but the depth that you bring in, I mean, the other thing is at least you got Aria Pfeiffer back. Aria Pfeiffer is one of the top young players around. She was with the Mexico under 16 team, correct, I think. And so she came back for the first PV leg. She played some of that game, and then did she play most of the game?
Yeah, she played most of it. Yeah. She didn't start, but she played most of the game for sure. She probably played 60 minutes of that second leg.
So, you know, even though you're down a center back, you're down one of your wingers, you know, so maybe not 100%, but, you know, with the talent you have, it just maybe means, you know, you're not able to sub as much or adapt,
yeah,
adapt tactically as much.
Yeah, no, the girls that stepped in, they're all sophomores, and they all did great, right? The girls that filled in for those spots. You know, the main thing is, as we talked, like, you know, PV having 17, you know, when you get to these playoffs, you know, you also rely on your seniors, right? Lauren and Johnny did a great job for us, especially that second leg. They fought for 80 minutes. But you know, losing 3 seniors that have been there, right? They've been to state semifinal games and CIF semifinal games in the Open Division, and you lack that leadership. And some of these girls have been there for 4 years. They're 4 years starters in a way, right? So that's kind of what the biggest loss is the experience. The girls that came in played great. They played just as good as the starters would have. It just, you lack that senior leadership, which they're giving it from the bench, but it's not the same when you're out there battling inside the field. So having said that, I do want to give a shout out to Johnny and Lauren, because when you're battling against 17 seniors and there's only 2 of you, you're outnumbered a little bit, and they held their own.
Yeah, Lauren Guyton, was she won I was trying to think there was something big she did in the second leg.
She hit the set piece, and she hit it on a rope, and the girl kind of headed it. It was an own goal in a way.
She created the OG that got you an extra.
Yep.
That's what I was.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, we'll wrap up with just, obviously it's a monumental task with Santa Margarita. Again, I'm sure, it's a team that at some point you're going to get past, and, why not this year? I don't know, just put it into words, what you guys are up against here this week, and what would it take to get through that?
No, they're a good team, right? They've been, like you said, they've been a top program for the last 5-6 years. It seems like they're good at everything, actually. But yeah, no, we've the good thing is we've been to that field, we've played there, we're a little familiar with it, more than we were a year ago, 2 years ago, for sure. And now you get into the habit of how this works, right? As you said, it's like a Champions League mentality where, you got to play well at home, and you got to take care of business at home, and on the road, you got to play differently. And I think this time around, hopefully we can adapt. They're a very good team. They're good all over the pitch, right? Even when they sub in kids, they're just as good as the starters. But we have a good team as well. So it's going to depend on finishing, right, and defending, especially at home.
Yeah, got to give yourself a chance to be in the second leg to win. So good luck on
sure.
That's Wednesday night at Thorson, and appreciate it, Coach. I'll be in touch. Keep up the great work.
All right, thanks you guys for all you do.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, Ebby.
Thanks.
All right, bye. All right, so we'll quickly wrap up girls soccer situation. Division 1, you've got top-seeded Westlake. The Chihuahua family has gotten them to their 6th straight quarterfinal. CC and KK combined with 3 goals in the first round. KK got a goal and assist in the win at El Dorado in the second round. So they host Rosary Academy on Wednesday night. Rosary Academy is the team that eliminated TO in the first round. Some of the big news here in girls soccer is Simi Valley. Simi Valley High School has not reached the quarterfinals. We got the Deuce stat of the week. Here's the Joe stat of the week. Simi High girls soccer reached the quarterfinals for the first time since 1998. Mackenzie Jameson has had 2 huge goals. She had the golden goal in the first round, and then she clinched the second round win with a ripping 35-40 yard free kick. I'm gonna have to put. I got the video. I'm gonna have to
post that.
The problem is I already posted her. I posted her golden goal, so she's clogging up our feed with these awesome goals. Division 5, another big story has been Del Sol. Making really its first team playoff run of any sport, if I'm not wrong. Bella Delgado equalized with 4 minutes left in the first round. Alessandra Zamaripa scored the golden goal, 2-1 win over Northview in the first round. That's at Rio Mesa High. Then they were down 1-0 again in the second game on Saturday night, and they end up getting all the way. They got an OG and got extra time, got all the way to PKs. And Sofia Aguirre, Bella Delgado, Natalie Orpesa, Brooklyn Pinon, and Jennifer Gonzalez, 4 freshmen and a sophomore, converted from the penalty spot to get them through. And then I can't, it's happened before, but it hasn't happened very often. They're going to host a 3rd straight home playoff game, even though they don't have a home stadium yet. So Wednesday night, they get Alemany at Del Sol. So essentially you have to play another team that's had 2 home games, and you win the coin flip, and that's how it happens. And then Grace, another freshman superstar, Scarlett Angel, She's figured in all 3 goals for Grace in their 2 playoff games. They beat Village Christian 2-0. She had a goal and assist. Then she had the goal in the 1-0 win over St. Monica. Grace, it always seems like they're in this position, so they're right there in the quarterfinals in D6. Unfortunately, the defending D6 champions Thatcher lost 2-1 in the last round. So we've got a lot of teams left in every sport, we should say, except for really boys basketball. We had 7 wrestling CIF champions, 6 of them girls. Newbury Park's Madison Black, Newbury Park's Juliet Martin, Rio Mesa's Brooklyn Bittner, Rio Mesa's Allison Cortez, Pacifica's Shire Antonez, Azures, Pacifica's Samia Basili, and those are the 6 girls. And then the 1 male CIF champion is Moore Park's Noah Huss at 285. The big news, honestly, was our defending wrestler of the year, Camborios Joshua Quena, was denied a 4 straight CIF title at 150 pounds. I'm sure he'll be back this week at Masters. Huss is the athlete of the week on the boys' side. We already mentioned him. And Black was the athlete of the week on the girls' side. And then we have 2 water polo teams left. You know who they are?
That we do, yeah. It's Oak Park versus Newport Harbor at 7:30 p.m. At Willett in Irvine. And then in D1, you have Agora versus San Clemente at 4:30 p.m. at the same location.
Those winners advance to the CF Championships this weekend at Mount Sac. So things are busy, and they're getting busier. So sorry for we had all kinds of stuff planned to talk about our college baseball guys, but we will save them a week. We are out of time. Dom, great job.
A ti tambien, my friend. Well done today. Awesome interviews, awesome coach appearances. I don't even know if we have time to plug anything, but go read everything. Read everything. Yeah. Go watch everything. Go read everything.
The app.
Scroll down.
Forget our blogs. We will have polls soon. But yeah, our live blogs, all the updates on your VC Star app. Check us out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week.
Awesome. All right, guys, stay tuned. Till next week. See ya.
Comes down to this for Thousand Oaks in their season. It is a gift to Martin. Martin gets the first down and more. It's a nice little screen to the left-hand side. One play and see ya later. Caldera dives into the end zone. Touchdown Oxnard. What a fitting way to end that run. He's at the 40. He's at the 20. 10.